Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you my take on Ronda, the event surrounding her, how good she is as a champion. We will grade her at the end of this video over the different areas of the game. I'll show you how I have built her. We'll show her in action and some of the best areas in the game where she will shine so that you can get the most value and the most context around your free login reward champion, Ronda. Let's get into it. Alrighty, now Ronda is themed after the real life professional athlete fighter Ronda Rousey, and was brought to the game throughout a promotional campaign. There's an official commercial on Plarium's official channels featuring the real Ronda Rousey talking about how she wants to be in the game and willing to fight somebody for it. And here we are, we have a Ronda Rousey promo champion in game. Now this is going to be a champion given out to the player base from like the end of November until the end of February. We've got a little bit of a window there where players will be able to log in over the course of 7 days to acquire Ronda as a free legendary champion during that promotional window. And because of being a promotional champion, there are a couple things to take note of that are going to be special about a champion like Ronda. Now, first of all, you can see here, if we go into the summoning portal and we click on this eye for some information, we see that in this section, Ronda is in there under the following champions cannot be summoned from any shard. So the only way to acquire Ronda is to be participating in Raid Shadow Legends and logging in for a 7-day period during that window from November to February. And that also means if you come into the Guardian Ring to empower your Ronda, obviously we can't really get duplicates of Ronda, so whatever that is the case, there is a champion that Plarium will choose that is summonable and acquirable from shards. And in this case, it is Killian the Lucky that is going to be fodder into empowering Ronda. Now, Killian is viewed as a lower tier legendary, so most people are probably okay with that choice. I'm using both of my Killian as a faction Guardian right now, so can't really dump them into Ronda until I find a replacement that I'm willing to kind of sacrifice. But if I did have an extra Killian, I would definitely empower into Ronda as long as my faction Guardians were full. So then if we go over Ronda's analysis here quick for the abilities and the stats, we've got an attack champion that's going to be scaling with attack as the main stat. Obviously, the A1 is going to be a triple hitter, obviously great for any situation like the Fire Knight, Giant Slayer procs versus the Clan Boss, and going to be placing an extra hit even if the target has less than 50% HP after the third hit. So again, even if they have full HP, but you hit them super hard 3 times, you have a chance to proc that extra effect if you did enough damage to get to that threshold. So a really cool ability there, lots of attacks flurrying off, and this A1 is going to happen a lot because there's a passive that has a 15% chance to join an attack whenever an ally attacks an enemy, and they will use their default skill, which is that A1 that can place up to 4 hits if the target is under 50% HP after that third hit. Then the A2 is another flurry of attacks, attacking one enemy 3 times and ignoring shield buffs plus 30% of the target's defense. So ignore shield, hit super hard, then also place a block passive skills debuff for 2 turns before attacking, which cannot be resisted, and place a block active skills debuff for 2 turns after attacking, which also can't be resisted. Now, the cannot be resisted part is extremely important because what it means is we don't have to build Ronda for any accuracy. We can just go all in focusing on the damage dealing stats like attack, crit rate, and crit damage. Sometimes when there's a champion that is a damage dealer but they have things in their kit that need to land, now all of a sudden you gotta prioritize accuracy. Do I use like an accuracy banner instead of an attack banner and all that? But you don't have to worry about any of that because Ronda does not do anything in her kit that requires accuracy. So yep, don't worry about stacking that stat, just go all in on the damage with enough toughness to survive based on the content you're doing. Then the A3 is going to be a multi-hitter AoE, and the damage is going to increase by 30% if Ronda has more than 50% HP, and then we get a passive effect immune to turn meter reduction effects when this skill is not on cooldown. So basically, a Lysandra or something in the arena cannot lower Ronda's turn meter if they go before Ronda, basically. So she's going to be very resistant to being able to actually get to her turn successfully, even if the other team is a little bit faster, as long as they don't like CC her or block her out or something. But also going to decrease all turn meter reduction effects used against this champion by 50% when the skill is on cooldown. So no matter what, if the skill is on cooldown or isn't on cooldown, gonna either have immunity or resistance to turn meter effects. Also for the passive, we didn't cover the second part, which is at the start of each round, place a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns equal to 40% of max HP. So something worth considering. You want to make sure you get the HP substat on like an amulet and stuff like that, then glyph it up because you're going to be stacking more and more shield based on HP that you're building onto Ronda. Then for the base stats, everything mostly normal and perfectly what we would expect. The HP, a little bit squishy, but she is a damage dealer. The attack is very good. Yeah, 1542. The defense is decent. It's up there about 1050. Speed of 101, perfectly normal. And then she gets the buffed up version of crit damage at 63%. And then 40 base resistance with 0 accuracy is fine because she does not need any accuracy. So now let's head on over to the Ronda that I've got built here on my account. And we'll talk about the building process, the best sets to use, the stats to prioritize, the booking process, the masteries, and everything that goes into putting together a successful Ronda. So alrighty, here is the Ronda that I've got put together, and then first of all, you will see up in the top right for the set bonuses, Savage plus Speed. Now, Savage is going to be great on her because as a damage dealer that scales up, if you're ignoring defense of the opponent, you're going to hit super hard. So Lethal and Savage are going to be really good 4-piece sets on her. Then you can fill in with something like Divine Crit Rate or Cruel or Speed or some sort of 2-piece set that helps you hit certain thresholds you're looking for, and based on the gear that you have on your account. I had to kind of mix and match because the best gloves that I wanted to use on her without ripping other people apart ended up being in the Speed set. So I went with the Speed plus the Savage on her as the initial build. Now, something that's killing me with the first iteration of me throwing gear on her is that she has a 99% crit rate. You can see the 15 plus 84 on the bottom right, which is absolutely killing me. You have to get your damage dealers to 100% crit rate, and I'm going to have to min-max some stuff. Please, Plarium, give us crit rate glyphs. Make it happen. I would love to see that. But anyway, as far as the actual pieces here, I would say mostly you're going to want to go with an attack banner on her and then try to get speed and attack percentage. Also remember, some HP would be great to help get an extra shield because of that passive. The amulet's almost always going to be crit damage on her, and then it's great to get like some resistance and some HP rolls on these substats. And then on the ring, you want like a main stat attack ring that has attack percentages and HP percentages as the substats. Now for boots, depending on your build, you can go either attack percent boots or speed boots. I think both would be fine as long as you have decent glyphs and decent gear with substats. You can justify the attack percent boots and still hit the speed threshold you would want to get to on her. And then the attack, the chest is always going to want to be attack percentage on her because we've got to scale up that attack and help her do damage. That's how she gets value as a champion. And then the gloves are always going to be crit damage or crit rate based on how you can manipulate the percentages to get that 100% crit rate while also hitting the stats you need. The top ones are super simple. Remember, we don't need accuracy. We're just looking for attack, crit rate, crit damage while getting as much kind of HP and toughness as we can squeeze in there on top of that. For the booking process, she takes 10 books in total. You've got the 4 plus 3 plus 3 is 10. You do get cooldowns on both the A2 and the A3. If you get lucky RNG, I guess you could save a book on the A1 if you really want to, but she does do the A1 a lot because of that passive where she joins in on attacks with allies and stuff, and she's a pretty good damage dealer, so there's nothing wrong with spending books on her. She is going to be really good in places like the Fire Knight and the Hydra and the Arena, and is a good progression champion that also has some endgame utility in certain situations. For the masteries, I think this is a mostly generally useful setup that most of you can use, but you do want to remember and kind of take note of how you're building the champion. You may want to try out something like Giant Slayer if you're using her mainly just in your Demon Lord clan boss team. But I think taking advantage of Helm Smasher and then not needing to go down the support tree and stacking up some of these most common offense nodes should be mostly perfectly fine to use on her in most situations. And as always, for my videos, I link down below if there's any sort of relevant content for you to pull up. We do have a post on the website about the Ronda event, and you can see the masteries right there if you ever want to be able to pull that up and look at on your end. Then let's show her in action a little bit. I think she'll do fine in the arena as a featured damage dealer. You've got the 3 slots around her, kind of filling the crucial roles, the support roles like buffing and removing buffs and reviving and bringing in aura and all of that. And then in that 4th spot, you could slot Ronda into some teams for success as the damage dealing role. And remember, she can be used to lock out some of those strong passives like Duchess, where she has that amazing damage reduction passive. Well, Ronda is the best affinity to counter Duchess and also can lock out that passive if you bully Duchess with that ability. So something to keep in mind as an option when you're diving into building teams for success in the arena. Let's see how this goes here. Get locked out a little bit, but we can revive with the Duchess. Hopefully be able to get an ability off here. Veil coming in clutch. There we go. The X returns. We're able to burst down the Duchess, and now we are looking like we have a chance. Now we got to target down that Arbiter. And there we go. Ronda taking it down. Would have been a bad time to get that 1% on the 99% crit rate. So there you go. You can see you know, a fight that could have gone either way, and a difficult fight in the arena that Ronda was able to really clutch it out and be the MVP there, countering that Duchess, diving in, killing her, then targeting the Arbiter. Now, I think Ronda may not be the best champion in the game on full auto, because it's not like a Trunda or a Baron or an Ethos or something like that where you're just kind of AoE nuking. You do kind of want to make sure you're targeting the right thing and locking out the right passives of the right champion. So you are going to have to pay attention to Ronda, maybe a little bit more than you're used to with some of your more standard AoE nukers. Also, when you've got Ronda on the battlefield, it's important to know how the auto is going to go for her abilities. Now, she is almost always, from my testing, going to be prioritizing this Fury Tremor ability, the A3, where we're going to attack all enemies 2 times and get more damage off if we have more than 50% HP, while also the passive effect of helping out with the turn meter stuff that is based on whether the skill is on cooldown or not. So when I hit auto here behind me, you can't see it, but when I hit auto, she's going to do that Fury Tremor AoE ability like you saw right there. And also remember that Ronda has that ability called In Your Corner, where there is a chance when you have an ally attack somebody, Ronda will join in with that triple hitter A1. So let's see if we can get that to proc. Let's go with Lydia here, and you'll see the In the Corner text pop up above Ronda's head. And there it is, In Your Corner. We targeted the Shazar with the Warlord, wasn't able to kill it, but then Ronda flew in with the In Your Corner ability, joined in on the attack, and was able to take the Lord Shazar down. So you can see how impactful that can be, where you're just getting kind of bonus default attacks from your hard-hitting Ronda. And now the fun part, let's pull up the grades and let's do it together here with Ronda and see what we come up with a grade. Now, usually the fusion champions and stuff, they end up around that 7.5 to 8.2 range. So anybody over 8 is usually good in the context of a champion that most of the player base can really get after, whether it's an event like the Ronda one where it's a login champion or a fusion event. So let's see what she grades out. Book value, so it takes 10 of them. And it's pretty decent, and she's a pretty reliable champion. I'd go like an 8 or an 8.5 on book value. In the arena, on a 1 to 10 scale, I mean, I think she's solid. You do see some people really high ranked, able to get some success out of her with really good teams around her. And she's resistant to some turn meter stuff, gives herself a shield. I can go like a 9. Hydra, probably like an 8, does a really good job doing damage. Demon Lord, gonna be really good, can be the DPS of a team and join in and get a bunch of bonus damage, so it could really fill in that damage dealer role, but doesn't have like a defense break or anything, so probably like an 8.5. Faction Wars can really be a good damage dealer in that role, but doesn't have like a revive or anything crazy. So probably, again, like an 8.5. Doom Tower it could be decent against some bosses and stuff. So probably, but like versus like most of your waves and stuff, I don't really see it. So probably like a 7. Dungeons, really good in the Fire Knight, lots of multi-hitter, and it can be a good source of damage. Places like the Dragon probably isn't going to be very good. Somewhere like the Golem, you know, mostly fine. I'd go like an 8 overall maybe. And then Scarcity does have a way to lock out passives like Duchess in the arena, and it does have the ability to join in with the default ability, which is super rare. Has a multi-hitter AoE, which is very common in the game. Lockout active and passive. Scarcity is pretty decent again. I'd probably go like a 7. And there we have it, kind of ending up right there around that 8 tier, that 8.0 tier, where is the threshold that I like to see promotional champions at least hit. When they're like a 7, 7.2, they're usually pretty negatively received and kind of underwhelming, just with the evolution of Raid and needing some strong champions to fill some of this tough content that's coming our way. So I think it's pretty good. I think they did a pretty good job designing Ronda. She ends up around that 8 tier. You're obviously not going to have Duchess or Sify when it's a free login champion. The champion's going to have some weaknesses. It's not going to be the god tier best champion in the game. It's not going to be a 9.2 or something. So I think mostly I'm happy with her design and her kit, and she seems mostly positively received from the community. But let me know down below where you agree, where you disagree. Our gradings on our tier list and the stuff in my videos are always subject to change, especially on a new champion like Ronda, but we're always willing to listen to feedback and try to keep that stuff as accurate as possible. So as always, remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Raid Shadow Legends content, and let me know down below what you think about Ronda. I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.